when I say, okay. I think that sometimes some of y'all women really don't understand how territorial men are. That's biologically how they are. It's different if you were covered up, but baby, you got titty tape on. So yes, of course, a man who knows how men are going to look at you, knowing that there's going to be men who are going to be predators or going to pursue you, he's right for saying that. That's not meaning that he's insecure, he's territorial. That's a man's nature, and that's absolutely okay. It's your responsibility as his woman to understand his nature and to also have boundaries with yourself, knowing what you are exposing yourself to. I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna be quick. I'm so glad I can have conversations with my husband because I asked him, we had a deep conversation. I said, what is it about women that will make you not wife her? And the first thing he said, the way she presents herself.
What's going to buy his Webster Style, of course, joined by the lovely Ren. Ren, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Good to hear. We're here for another Ren's Playtime Corner, and it's been a minute. Life is lifing.
Right, for sure.
But a lot of topics that have come up, but Ren has shot me this video today and thought it'd be a real good conversation with regards to, and especially with some of the topics that she's touched on personally as far as reactions to her page and how she chooses to present herself at times. And you would have seen the video before we started, but basically talking about men being insecure versus territorial with regards to how their women specifically be. I believe, remind me if I'm wrong, how women dress in general and what maybe we perceive from that. And I know that there's always been this conversation as far as women dress in a certain kind of way, and there is a certain perception of her that is had. And I know one of the things as far as we've spoken, and you are a very well-endowed woman, and as someone who knows well-endowed women, it's kind of hard to put those things away. So
Yeah.
there's always this air of the perception when you're just, in this case, large chested. How do you feel about just the whole overall perception in general?
Well, I learned a long time ago, men are just they see what they like and they just go for it type of thing. Like sometimes they don't even think twice on it. If you got a feature that a man really loves and is obsessed with, he's automatically just gonna come after you just based on those features alone. Now it could be boobs, it could be feet, it could be eyes, it could be whatever. So men are just visual creatures by nature. They very territorial by nature as well. So I get those like concepts and understanding of it. And it's funny to me because Haley Bailey, not confused of Hailey Bailey. Haley Bailey recently broke up with her boyfriend DDG, and he explained how insecure he was being with her because she's beautiful, she's a model, she's a singer, she's an actress, and she has to be half naked sometimes. She has to do sex scenes sometimes. She has to do these things in order to put food on their table. And he realized how uncomfortable it made him because it's like, my girl is supposed to be mine, not for the world to see. But it's like you knew who you was pursuing in the beginning as well. Listen, being large chested, big hipped, assing, that doesn't mean I don't have no class to myself. That doesn't mean I don't have restrictions to myself. That doesn't mean that I'm just out here for everybody either. But to a man's visual mind, because some men are just that point blank point period. A, B, and C. They don't go to D, they don't go to the J, they don't go nowhere else. This is what they want, this is what they like, and that's what they think is a better woman. And it's not. It could be a woman half-ass naked probably be doing better for you than a fully grown, full-figured, covered up woman. It's all about personality, but it's hard to differentiate those two because of, again, the visual. Your mind goes a mile a minute assuming things instead of asking questions about anything that somebody does. And I like a man being territorial. Like I used to say when I was talking to one of my exes, I like you being in charge. I like you being in control. I don't like you to be controlling though. And that's where the they don't understand the difference. Be in control, be my man. Tell me, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do this. Okay, respectfully, if I respect you enough, I'm going to heed what you're saying and take it into consideration. And if it's reasonable, you're right, babe. I shouldn't be doing that. Because it's a partnership at the end of the day. I'm not dating nobody just to date somebody. We both have to be able to feed off each other. Like you supposed to compliment your partner. You compliment me, I compliment you. You bring out the best of me, I'm supposed to bring out the best of you. We supposed to be in this together. Okay. So I ain't just picking somebody that I think is just being stupid. Not at this grown age. Like, no. So be in control, but just not obsessively controlling. Be respectful, be reasonable. Some men feel like, oh, you can't tell a woman nothing. Maybe it's the way you telling her. Maybe that's just what it is. Like sometimes you can't tell a man nothing. Some people are just stubborn in general, but it's also the way you say things and the way you approach somebody. It's like, I don't like you having your cleavage out. Cool, babe. I'll do it less. But it has to be a conversation that has to be had, not just you going off the rocket thinking you just trying to get attention from everybody. Regardless if I'm covered up or not, I will get attention. It doesn't matter what the fuck I wear. It's my personality that oozes sexuality regardless. So some people just need to learn the difference in these definitions. And because some people say you're a narcissist, and like, do you really even know what a narcissist really is? Like, learn the definitions and understand exactly what you're saying for it to make sense. You're muted.
Thank you. I definitely agree with a lot of what you're saying. Um, I think with that argument, even what your, not any argument, but point of view, I think is multifaceted. You brought up something with Halle Berry and her ex. I think it should be an understanding when your woman has to present herself in a certain manner in a professional aspect. If that is what she does for a living, that's part of what it is. Yes, you may be somewhat insecure, but like you said, you knew just coming into it. There is there's an image, there is a expectation, there is a presentation of herself as being that person in the public that she has to do, because that's what sells, that's what gets her endorsements, all that stuff. Like that's how she makes her money. I think that aspect is different from, say, for instance, and there's this uh I think it's YouTube, but I've seen it on Instagram. It's called Undesirable Truths. I think it is. Gentleman goes up, he talks to men and women, asks them in relationships, blah, 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 blah. And I've saw many a times that he has gone up to women who are dressed very provocatively out and about going to the club and asked them, you know, do you have he always asks like, how old are you involved with somebody? If so, how long? If not, why are you single? He goes through those questions with everybody, man or woman. What I saw was there are various clips that he had where he asked the women, who they were with their men, and they excuse me, they did have a man, and they were out and they were very scantily clad. And it's like, how you feel, how does your man feel about this? Well, and I think one or two, the man was with them, and they're basically like, he can't tell me nothing, he can't control me, he can't dictate what I wear.
Well, how old was this woman for one?
There were various, and they were all in their early to late 20s. I don't think any of them, at least what I recall, were in their 30s. They may have been, because I've seen many clips, and there are various clips, various ones where women of all ages. But there was a pretty much 99% aspect of demonstration of that sort of attitude with what they wore. There were a couple of times where they're like, or when we were like, no, because I have respect for my relationship with my man, and I wouldn't want to parade
Right.
myself out like that. I think that this is where I'm coming from as a man, and it's kind of what they were talking about there. There is a matter of how you present yourself to the world. And when I think of this conversation, I am not thinking of someone whose aspect of their professional life is sex and sexuality. You know,
Mm.
we both know people who are in various lifestyles who do certain things professionally with regards to that is concerned. And that is part of their image based on what they do and how they generate income, whether it's their main hustle, side hustle, whatever. I was looking at it as, especially in a conversation, this is how they dress, this is how they want to dress. They want to dress this, they want that empowerment, they want that freedom of being able to dress how they want. That is where I think that is the problem comes into play as far as a man is concerned. And I'll give you, I'm going to say this and I'm come back. So I have a friend of mine, female. I remember it was one Sunday morning, she had gone out to brunch, and she's not conservative whatsoever. But we talk about various topics like real life stuff, just men and women, and we also talk about how high grocery prices are and all stuff like that. But she was just telling me how she gone out to brunch and saw these ladies, younger women. I was going to say younger, maybe about your age, her age. She's in her early mid 30s as well, and how they were dressed and how they were larger women, not unattractive, but they felt as though because of that freedom, they could just wear things that just everything was hanging out, everything was revealed, and it was so lacking any sort of refinement. And
Mm.
this is coming from a woman, you know, it's not even a man. And I'm thinking, as a man in that position, I see that, and not necessarily I see, oh, you're quote unquote for the streets. I see that, okay, you have no real discretion of one, what fits on you, and two, how to properly dress your body and present yourself in the world.
Well, I mean, some people don't got taste or class.
They
That
don't.
that has nothing to do with anything, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's like some people just don't dress right. Like even back in like the 2000s and fours and five area,
Mhm.
men walking around with they ass out. Like, why do you think
That's
that's attractive?
that's a whole nother conversation.
So,
But no, you know what? No, you're right. That goes right into this. It's about presentation, and it's about I was going to as far as respect. If you're in a relationship, if you're in a relationship, I would not expect that man to be walking around with his pants sagging down, his underwear showing, his booty, his butt exposed with regards to him being in a relationship. I don't care if that's a style or not, because first of all, there's no class, so and two is risque. It look, it invites a certain connotation, and then vice versa. If you are a woman and you just want to dress provocatively just because, and your significant other expresses an issue with it, like you said, it needs to be a conversation. There needs to be a head, but it's also, my mom always said, you walk out of this house and you're a representation of me. I
right,
feel the same way with
right,
regards to a relationship. You, if especially if your relationship is public and is known, you're walking out the house as a representation of your unit,
right,
period. And how you represent yourself online is a representation of your unit. Again, provided it is you are not in certain aspects of society, business wise, online, that's customary. But I understand that the conversation that was had about territorial. So yes, men are very territorial. I think that there is a degree of insecurity, and like you said, with DG, he was insecure about that. But in that aspect, he really had no control because this was her professional life. It's
right.
not as if he had a position to say, babe, I'm really uncomfortable with this, blah, 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 because this is how she got her bag. This
And
is her
she was
image.
she was vanilla compared to all these other
But
artists out here.
she,
Like,
oh, she is. She really
yeah.
is. But I think that with
So,
the conversation, though, it was very much about just real life, real people. And let's be frank, um, I would say just the average woman has no qualms showing a lot more than probably was necessary online with regards to their body and in the air of empowerment, in the air of I can do this because I'm independent and so on and so forth, not because of any sort of professional aspects or pursuits regarding that. Because look, I don't care if you're an Instagram model now. If you ain't getting paid, you ain't getting modeling gigs. If it's not a link going to your published work, let's be frank, you're not really a model like that.
Right.
So I think that's where the real conversation comes to play. Okay, if my girl, my wife was online and her chest was exposed, her thighs, her legs, and whatnot was exposed. Yes, if I would have a problem with that, personally speaking, because
And
I
why
feel as
would
though
you have a problem with that? Go ahead.
because that would be inappropriate just in general. It would be inappropriate to our relationship. Case in point, there are like I did a review of um some dollar store undergarments. Actually, it comes out like next week or whatever. I purposely, with the underwear, did not show past the waistband because of one, that's my personal space, and I don't need to put that part of me on the internet. But two, out of respect for her, like
Mm,
I wouldn't do that to her. I wouldn't put myself just like even if I'm doing things, videos that are I'm bare chested, you see from the collarbone up. You don't see
mm,
any nipples or anything because I'm cognizant of that of how I present myself online. And I know that she would do the same thing. So if that wasn't that how she presented things, that would be an issue because I would think, okay, that's a reflection on you, that's a reflection on me, that's a invites questions into our relationship, our union.
mm.
Um, like I said, your mama said, you walk out here, you're a representation of me. I walk out of
Right.
this house, I'm a representation of her. I present myself
Mm.
online, those that know who we are together, I'm a representation of her, and vice versa. She's a
No,
representation of
you absolutely
of
right.
me.
And women, if you don't like it, find a man that just don't mind flaunting you off with the boobs and the ass out. But most majority of men are territorial. It doesn't matter what the freak they might say.
Mhm,
I don't know what I never dated a man that didn't. If a man touched me, even looked at me a certain way, he didn't get upset. So you have to really be cautious. Now, I'm still a free spirit type of person,
mhm,
and the partner I'm with normally understands what I'm doing for a living.
mhm.
It has nothing to do with me not respecting him, and he
Right.
understands that part. This is a gig and this is a job at the end of the
Mhm.
day, and he gets that part.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's about respect. It's
Right. Exactly.
respecting your partner. Like, no, they men don't like it. They don't. I don't know what every man I ever dated got upset when I used to really do heavy modeling.
Mhm.
At one point, it's like a pendulum thing.
Right.
He likes it because damn, my bitch is bad. Look at her walking these runways, trying these clothes, having all this people in your face all the time. And that is in that regard, it boosts his ego. Like I got a bitch that everybody wants, and she only belongs to me.
Right.
And in the end, in the end of the other side of it is like I got a bitch that everybody wants. You
But
know,
see, that's the
go ahead.
insecurity part though. That's what like that is what it may because I haven't really experienced it, and also I think I have a bit more confidence in that regard. The one thing I've learned, I think this is what men don't understand. If she wants to be with you, she will be with you. No other
Right.
man, nothing else will really matter in that regard. So there's no reason to be insecure, especially if you walked into the situation and you knew this is what she was, this is what she was about. This is how, again, there was no change. It'd be different if there was a change. Then I
Mm.
understand the insecurity. Then I understand, like, okay, I'm not really feeling this sort of thing. Just like, they always like, well, how you start dating a stripper and then you want to stop stripping. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like
Right.
you know how it runs, but she chooses to be with you. And that's
Right.
what you don't get. So why you're insecure. But yeah, you're right. That there's definitely air of insecurity there in that situation.
Right. And they try to use the Cardi B as the same situation scenario when, oh well, how, you dated a stripper, so that look what happened because you dated a stripper. She was faithful to that man. Only recently she started doing her thing, but they were separated. The whole time she sat there looking like a dummy while this man was cheating on her constantly, publicly, for everybody to know, and she's still staying by that man. So how is she the hoe when he literally out here in the streets fucking everybody that will give him a look?
I
You know,
I'm not
so make it make sense.
I'm not saying that my context as far as that situation has nothing to do with her being a stripper. It has everything to do with she is self-professed that she has done whatever she needed to do to survive, including criminal acts, which I still have an issue with the fact that nobody's ever done anything about that. Because if the situation was reversed, if that was a man saying that, oh, they would have found a way to put him in jail or something.
The man probably was married and should have been in that
But
hotel room
that
with her in the first place.
that's irrelevant.
So
But that's irrelevant. That's the fact. My point is, she admitted to doing certain things. There was
you
no
have to come to a judge with
no.
unclean
I
hands,
I
with clean
agree.
hands, a thing or something like that.
No,
He was doing something illegal, so she did something illegal. They both were doing something illegal.
I'm just saying I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying if the genders were reversed, the conversation would
No,
have been
you're right.
different. And
Right with the whole Me Too movement, right? It would be a
that's
whole uproar.
that's my only issue with that. My point with that is it has nothing to do with what she supposedly did or didn't do um, after she'd been cheated on repeatedly. My issue with that issue is she showed you who she was and type of person she was with regards to getting her lick back.
Oh yeah, yeah.
so so that aspect of it, okay, you can call her whatever, but she knew. But also, even as far as he's concerned, if he cheated every month, he was cheating every month before he got you pregnant.
Yeah,
So you knew who he was. So and
right.
my point of that is nope, you can't be the victim if you know.
She not. I don't
So
know who feels sorry. I mean, I guess some
no,
people
no,
feel
no.
sorry for
She
her, but I
claimed
don't.
she plays the role, but I digress with that. With what you said as far as Cardi B, again, even that whole thing, she dealt in sex and sexuality as far as their career is concerned. Did that play a part in offsetting what he did? I don't know. Who knows? I don't care. I'm just saying that there is a matter of respect, like you said, and going back to it's funny, we always come back to respect and conversation and communication. With all these conversations we have, that's really what it comes down to. You have a conversation. You're like, say you and I were together, ladies and gentlemen, we're not, we're just good friends. Like Ren, I'm starting to really have an issue, not issue, but I'm starting to feel uncomfortable with just some of the things you put online. And I understand why, but I'm just starting to feel uncomfortable. And I know we're trying to make this work. I want to know if maybe it's some ways we can maybe tweak some things so to make it a bit easier for us in this dynamic. Not necessarily you stop what you're doing, but I don't know. Just and again, that's a sticky subject, but you start the conversation. You come respectfully. You
Right. And
understand.
you know how I'm gonna respond? Absolutely, babe.
Right.
Because if I'm with you, there's going and you feel like I don't like this, I don't like that. Some pictures is gonna be deleted off my social media
Right.
out of respect. It has nothing to do with, and this is what I said. I like a man being in control, but not controlling. If a man is telling you something, if it makes sense, because he's not saying it for no damn reason,
Hmm.
actually listen to what he say instead of try to take it a offense like he's trying to say something wrong. I got a lot of titties and ass on my damn social media at this current
Right.
state. If my man said, please delete that, please do that, please do, I'm deleting it.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I don't want everybody's attention. If I got my man, I want his attention. It has nothing to do. I
Right.
like to model, point blank, period. But I lived my modeling life. I lived my freeness and my expression of my art. People don't see it as art, but I see it as art. Okay. And this plot is playing naked ass women, white women online, and they see that as art. But a full figure black chocolate woman doing the exact same thing, they don't see as art. But that's another subject we can get into. But if my man feels uncomfortable, delete, delete, delete. If my man feels uncomfortable, I don't like that person talking to you, bye, bye, bye. It has nothing to do with nothing else but keeping the peace in my fucking home. That's all it is. It matters.
Yep.
And I want you, you want me, and we in this together, we're together. So
Right.
it's going to be a partnership. And I'm hoping, and vice versa, if I tell him something that makes me uncomfortable that I don't like, he will fix it too. You can't tell somebody, oh, my man don't do this, my man don't do that. Well, do you do this and do you do that? It's a two-way street, because at
Right.
the end of the day, it's going to be issues. But my man should know, if you wanted me, a lot of other people want me. But if I'm
Exactly.
with you, we together. Who the fuck cares about
Exactly.
anybody else?
Exactly. I think you brought up a very good point, though, and I think that is when we have these conversations, particularly, I say women only because that's why I hear this conversation comes up. I don't think a lot of people online, women specifically, when they have these conversations, understand the difference between control, or excuse me, a man being in charge and leading, and a man being controlling based on their mind. Based what you just said, he was being in charge and stepping up and voices his concerns. He wasn't telling you what to do. He didn't tell you you couldn't do XYZ. And the conversations that are had is, a man cannot tell me what I can and cannot wear. A man cannot tell me what to do. And I listen and I say, then you can't say that and then talking about you want this man. I don't want to go 50-50. I want somebody to pay all the bills. Well, that means you're giving a man a degree of control and charge in your
Right,
life.
right,
So those things don't go together. So I'm like, do you really
right,
comprehend control and controlling? Because I'm like,
right.
you can't have that conversation and say, oh, well, he can't tell me what to wear. I'm like, yeah, yeah, he can.
He
He
can tell
really
you what
can.
to wear.
He
He
really
can.
can.
But if you respect this man and love this man, then what is the problem of putting on some damn clothes to cover something? Now, if
Exactly.
my man tells me you gotta put on a turtleneck every day, you ain't my man, because we ain't doing that. But I don't mind dressing like a normal damn person. It's getting cold anyway. The fuck I'm walking out here half ass nigga anyway.
Right.
You know, like we in October, it's about to be winter. But like I this is why I date people who are like-minded creatures, man, because I'm such a cool person that we have to have the conversation. So there's no, you don't have to feel insecure. You don't have to
Right.
think a thousand things in 1 minute. Like, oh, she's going to do this, she's going to do that. Have I been showing you any signs of that the whole time we've been dating? Absolutely not. Because if I did, I'm sure you wouldn't be dating me in the first place.
Right.
So you have to understand that this is me. There's no tricks. There's no smoke and mirrors here. I'm very transparent. I'm very open, and I'm very honest. And that's what I respect in return. If you tell me this is what it is, you tell me we together, we gonna be in an open relationship. Bet we in an open relationship. You can do what you want. You must be giving me the free will to do whatever I want to.
Right.
You agree? Cool. Knowing in the back of the head that we both want to be respectful to each other,
Right.
regardless of us being in an open relationship. You need to have some sort of like ground rules. And yeah, again, people change throughout years too,
Right.
because we've been together. If we was together for 12 years, and then all of a sudden I'm like, I'm tired of being in an open relationship because I'm just done with it,
Right.
and you still feel like, well, I ain't done with it yet, then that's another conversation that needs to be had. But the
Exactly.
conversation never stops. It always has to be lines of open communication to your partner, so you don't think that she or he is doing A, B, and C just based off of your insecurities and your self-doubt. It has
Right.
nothing to do with me, because I'm very secure. If I say you my man, you're my man, I'm your girl, and that's what it is. And we want to
Exactly.
work this out. That's my thing.
Now let me ask you the question though, and this is, and we're both on the same page with this, but the insecurity aspect of it. I wonder how much of that is really is manufactured. Let me explain what I mean by that. Manufacture an aspect of this perception of so much choice. And because there is, from a man's point of view, there is a perception that your girl has all this choice, which to some degree she does it, but then she really she does and then she doesn't. That you are insecure about the possibility that going more to the red pill space, like your girl may be monkey branching, or she just wait for the next best man to come along, and
But
this is the
see,
way of. And again, that is not based in reality. That is based in our social media interconnectivity via the web, and not really, again, respecting your relationship, understanding that y'all are together because well, she's with you, period.
yeah,
And that is what really should be the issue with anything. This your woman is deciding every single day to come home to you, to be with you,
right,
to interact with you, to love you. I,
right.
the That's what should be the focus. Your insecurity is not based on anything unless that stops, unless you see signs that oh something else is afoot or she is doing these things. But the
But
aspect
see
of
how the roles reverse of this new day and age. We both got options out here. We both have opportunities out here. And that's what I hate about social media the most because all these dating websites are trash because everything that shimmers isn't gold, okay? Everything that looks good on piece of paper isn't good for you. It's all just an image based thing that people try to feed you. This is the perfect, I live the most perfect lifestyle in the whole entire world, not knowing that this billionaire house that this person owns is about to go in foreclosure because he was too busy trying to keep up with the Joneses instead of keeping up with his bills. So you just made a really good and valid point. We both have options. Men, plenty of men always used to say, I can always find somebody, but I can replace you. You know, that's what why people was upset with Beyonce when she made that song Irreplaceable. A lot of men got upset, like, how dare she say she can't be replaced? We men, we can replace y'all women on a regular basis. Now we in a time that literally everything is accessible. You
Mhm.
want a blowjob in 2 minutes, you can call somebody in 2 seconds to
I
get that
can.
blowjob. Yeah, yes.
I'm like,
You can if you know the
I
right
don't
people
know.
to call, okay? But everything is so accessible.
Mhm.
And this is why I'm still old school, regardless of what I might look like. I'm still old school. Okay. I cannot lay down with you and expect no feelings to be had. I'm not at that mental capacity yet. It's even we together or we not.
Yeah, I
And
don't.
it's not no friends with benefits because once we fuck, we not friends no more. Okay,
Yeah,
because you want to start. We can't play video games no more by ourselves. We can't play cards. We can't talk on the phone like we used to. So how can we be friends? Because you want to think, oh, you trying to be with me. I don't want you. You fucked me. So obviously you wanted me at some point in time. So we not doing that over here. And I just had a whole conversation with my friend like that. Well, this is a story for all women, young women to listen to. All right. Unless that man say he's your boyfriend, do not have this man live in your house. He's not your responsibility. Okay. Unless he's saying we in a relationship, best believe he out here doing something else with somebody else. Let these men claim y'all. Stop thinking like, oh well, Cardi B said and Sexy Red said we should just be fucking and having fun. Of course, that's what they say because they making money out of it. But how is that working for you, really? You said because this man that claims that you not together, but y'all been fucking for 5 years, right? Your feelings involved, his feelings involved, but he try to pretend it's not involved because as soon as you fuck somebody else, he gonna call you a bitch and a hoe. So it's like, listen, just be in a relationship. It's nothing wrong with that. Yes, on my hurt, I'm hurt. I'm still healing. You still healing 5 years later? You need therapy. Okay, that wound should have been healed. It's no different from a cut. Wounds heal. That's the point. You supposed to get into the process of the healing, not still feed it into it, trying to dilute it with drugs or sex or whatever else is your
Right.
vices. You actually have to work on the healing process, guys, and stop with this nonsense. It's sad and pathetic how many miserable people out here want to talk about somebody else's situation when they in a situation 10 times worse than who they talking about. All right.
Right.
Stop with like thinking love is a bad thing. Stop
Right.
with this nonsense. I don't
Right.
want to die alone, and I shouldn't feel guilty to say that. I don't want to sleep with random people for the rest of my life, and I shouldn't feel guilty to say that. The fuck is what you think this is?
Exactly.
I don't know.
No, no, you're right. I don't understand the overall aspect of just sleeping with anybody and the recreational aspects. I'm like, how do you not have get feelings or get I don't understand it. Some people like that. Men and women, some people like, I don't get that. I don't understand it. But I guess more to just to kind of put a pin in it as far as like where we've come from as far as that women dress provocatively, um like there's an air of insecurity there. And I think being insecure to some degree is healthy, but that insecurity needs to turn into a conversation. If
Right.
you are a man and you're insecure or you have an issue with how your woman dresses, how your woman presents herself, then you have a conversation. You expect that, hey, this makes me uncomfortable. But also on the flip side, as a woman, I think if you're in a relationship, if you are in a marriage, and again, you don't deal in these things with regards to this is how you generate an income. Clearly, if you have an OF page, all that's out the window. uh, but but I think that like that as a woman, you also have to be able to be approached, is also to listen to what this person that you've chosen to be your partner is saying about what makes them uncomfortable. And you need to figure out whether or not you respect your relationship and that man enough to make changes to accommodate, because you're going to ask those same things of him in other circumstances in some way, shape, or form. And you would expect him to give you the same grace and the same respect that he would want from you in that sort of situation.
A woman that really loves you is not going to go nowhere. We've been women since the dawn of damn time. Okay, our biologic DNA has not changed from men and women for
Right.
centuries and decades since caveman times. We still biologically programmed to want these things, regardless of what the new day and age is trying to make you think. It's still in our DNA to want these things, regardless of what y'all are trying to say on the internet, on these other podcasts, and all this other stuff. Listen, a woman literally, our job was to sit at home, cook and clean, and took care of the man. That was our job. And we fought for rights to have freedom of choices, to do what we want, and this is just the outcome of that freedomness.
Right.
Now it's a debate online because it's like, well, y'all supposed to do this and y'all supposed to do that. Well, y'all men supposed to do this and supposed to do that too. You can't have it both ways. You can't tell a woman to be submissive and also tell her to be independent at the same damn time. I can't be in a full-blown woman aspect with a man who is literally I have to take care of as well, like he's my child. Okay, I'm not submitting to a child or a boy. You have to show me that you're dominant. You have to show me that you're controlling. You have to show me that you are my master. And that is not even in the lifestyle way or sexual way.
Mhm.
That is a natural nurturing way for me to activate what you asking of me. You want me to do these things, but you're not providing the space for me to do these things. It does not make sense. Now, again, given everything is based on a person individual taste as well. I'm people think I'm dominant. all the time. Like, oh, you must be tying niggas up and whipping them with chains or something. Like, no, I'm very submissive.
I never got that.
No, people meet me in person that know
No,
me in
I can
person.
understand that, but I never got that, which all right. I forget where we were, but I know I was saying something to the effect that like I never I never pegged you as like a dominant woman, like, whips and chains on them. Like, how can I put it? Is also being somebody from the hood, I totally understand the personality. Um, but yeah, but anyway, I think that really comes down to it, like we said before, it comes down to communication and it comes down to mutual respect. That's really what everything comes down to. And I think that honestly, that you can really work through anything as a couple if you continue to come together in that aspect. And even
Right.
based on what you said, that's really what it comes down to.
Right.
All right. But Ren, let everybody know where they can find you.
You find me on Instagram, silly_Weaver. You can catch me anytime on Webster Styles YouTube channel. I also have another YouTube channel called Red's Red Room. Those are old videos that you can catch up on to see the progress of from the beginning to up to this point. And thank you everyone for tuning in, listening, and watching our show.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, Ren. You guys, thank you again. Find me, everywhere Webster Style, Instagram, TikTok, well, underscore Webster Style there, Twitter, everywhere you can find Webster Style. It's going to be webstyle.com. And again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your listening ear. And remember, stay safe out there and be blessed.
See ya.
All right. I forget where we were, but I know I was saying something to the effect that like I never I never pegged you as like a dominant woman, like, whips and chains on them. Like, how can I put it? Is also being somebody from the hood, I totally understand the personality. Um, but yeah, but anyway, I think that really comes down to it, like we said before, it comes down to communication and it comes down to mutual respect. That's really what everything comes down to. And I think that honestly, that you can really work through anything as a couple if you continue to come together in that aspect. And even based on what you said, that's really what it comes down to.
Right.
All right. But Ren, let everybody know where they can find you.
You find me on Instagram, silly_Weaver. You can catch me anytime on Webster Styles YouTube channel. I also have another YouTube channel called Red's Red Room. Those are old videos that you can catch up on to see the progress of from the beginning to up to this point. And thank you everyone for tuning in, listening, and watching our show.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, Ren. You guys, thank you again. Find me, everywhere Webster Style, Instagram, TikTok, well, underscore Webster Style there, Twitter, everywhere you can find Webster Style. It's going to be webstyle.com. And again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your listening ear. And remember, stay safe out there and be blessed.